Welcome back to A World Gone Mad, Season 1, Episode 47. I'm your host, Jeff Allen Wolf. A big hello to all the Wolfpack listeners today. And if you're not a Wolfpack member yet, why not? It's free. Contact me through email, and I'll tell you how to become a member. Again, it's free, and it's easy. All right, I'm mad and disappointed because I just saw something this morning that got me in this mood. Who am I mad at? I'm mad at the mainstream media. Today, particularly Andrea Mitchell. Now, it could have been any journalist. It happened to be Andrea Mitchell. She just reported some breaking news. I saw this while I was eating my breakfast. And this is what the headline read. A special report that Trump's DOJ under his first administration pulled phone records and texts. Trump's Justice Department secretly gathered records of congressmen, staff, and journalists. So why am I mad and disappointed at the mainstream media, and especially today, Andrea Mitchell? Because after talking about this report for a few minutes, she then broke to a commercial that talked about the quality of eggs and produce at your local supermarket. I don't even know what the commercial was about. Trump's DOJ pulled phone records and texts from journalists, congressmen, and staff during his last administration. And what about it? So? And what's being done about it? Any consequences? The takeaway I got from all of this is there's a quality amount of food at your supermarket. Nothing in depth at all about solutions offered, just the report about the corruption. My main annoyance about this is the mainstream media and Andrea Mitchell talked about corruption that took place under Donald Trump in that first administration. There is corruption right there with Donnie Boy, and look what he did illegally, Andrea said. Now let's cut to a commercial. The mainstream media and a lot of podcasts, I have to say, and YouTube streams talk about garbage that happened, get you all riled up, but what's going to be done about all of this? Where is the outrage? Where are the people coming on these shows and YouTube and podcast, mainstream media, to talk about this corruption other than reporting about it and getting us pissed off? What's being done about all this garbage that's happened behind the scenes with the Republicans and Donald? Look, I know a couple of you wrote to me in the last week or two, said you're going to stop listening to this podcast, not because of the podcast or me, but because you're fed up and you can't take it anymore. And I don't blame you, because all we are hearing right now is stuff that happened after the fact. Yet, no one's offering anything beyond talking and reporting about the bad stuff. No wonder all of us are burnt out. There should be an investigation there. There should be consequences. We used to have this in America. You do something wrong, and it's proven you did something wrong, you go to jail. Something actually negative happens to you for your wrongdoing. You are held accountable. But that accountability stops with Donald, no matter what he's done. It never comes to fruition with any consequences. That's just not happening anymore in America. Talk, talk, talk. No action, no follow through. Let's get the listenership out there to be pissed off about something. And then let's break for commercial about the latest movie, or commercial about the latest restaurant, or Outback has a special on steak and shrimp. I'm sick of it. 74 million plus people voted for him. And that's sad, and it's negative. And it makes a lot of people want to move out of this country. We've discussed that. I'm sorry I'm going on and on about this, but this is the crux of our problem in this country. I'm not being naive about ratings on mainstream media news shows. I know what they're doing. But basically, they've abdicated the throne. They're not doing anything to hold anybody accountable. They're not asking hard questions anymore. They're not reporting in depth like Dan Rather and Mike Wallace and Walter Cronkite and all of these, David Brinkley, all of these great journalists did. Andrea Mitchell, I used to follow you. I used to follow a lot of journalists. I just can't respect a lot of them anymore because they talk about stuff that happened. But nobody is rallying anybody around to do something about the stuff that happened. The intelligent people like myself and the Wolfpack listening audience are so drained and tired of the same old, same old. We want action. We demand investigation in depth. We demand transparency to the public. And this boils down to what I know you will say is a trite sentence, but it's an overlooked sentence. The politicians, congressmen, senators, judges, staff members, you work for us, the American people. It's not the other way around, as Donald has you believe. As the Republicans, like Mike Johnson and Joni Ernst and others, I'll get to Joni in a second, and other major name politicians have you believe. And to repeat the phrase from the movie Network, played by Peter Finch with his character Howard Beale, and he said, I am mad as hell, I'm not going to take this anymore, and it applies today. Neither should you take this anymore, or any of us in this country, if you care about democracy. If you feel the election was stolen from us by Donald Trump, then demand a recount. And by the way, if you feel it was stolen, don't get on Facebook and post junk saying it was stolen to others without proof. Otherwise, you're doing what they did, the Republicans did in 2016. And without proof, we look and sound like idiots. Look, it's not about when they go low, we go high, as Michelle Obama eloquently said. It's about backing up our beliefs with proof, unlike the Republicans. So yeah, mainstream media and Andrea Mitchell, you failed us today. And you're failing us in the last few years or so with bringing up this corruption and bringing it to light and just reporting on it without follow-through or demanding any action or any in-depth investigative reporting. I want an action committee on TV with cameras involving the public, talking about all the crimes and corruption that took place under Donald and the Republicans, and by the way, and any Democrats who also crossed the line. No more reporting corruption without action from the mainstream media, whose job, by the way, it is to ferret out this corruption, but also to bring in the people who could do something about it and ask them the hard questions. Don't just do a news story to get reaction without following through to the end and making a difference in the lives of your listeners. I want to take a minute or two here, ask all of you who are listening to help me. I've done this in the past, and a few of you have followed through and done it, but I need everyone's help now with this, everyone. So all of you who are listening, please This podcast, A World Gone Mad, has been going on for almost a year now, come this January 3rd. So being that we have a few weeks left before the end of the year, I need all of you, not a few of you, all of you, please help me. I'm asking something very basic and simple and easy to do to everyone listening. I need to take an accounting for the end of the year to see where I stand with listenership, to show to potential sponsors who want proof, and to also see what marketing works best for this podcast to expand the listenership and let other people know about it. Your help in this will help me dramatically increase the listenership across the country and the world. This is where you, the Wolfpack listenership, comes in. So here's what I'm asking. It's very basic. It's very simple. Can you take 60 seconds? You take more than that on social media, so I'm asking you please to give me 60 seconds of your time. If you're listening on an app that allows you to text me directly like Spotify or Apple, can you send me a text now, please? It helps. I'm not asking anyone for money. I'm asking you for a text. Those of you who can email me, all of you, not some of you, the same few, all of you email me one email. If you've never emailed before, one time is when I need it now. This helps. I need all of you to help me with this. I have almost 600 listeners and only a handful have followed through on this. So I need you to please support me now by doing something very basic, not money, but feedback. When you send me the text or the email, I need your first name. Just say hi. Where you're listening from, not where you were born, where you're listening from, and how you listen to the podcast. For example, I'm Jeff. I listen from Santan Valley, Arizona. I listen through Apple Podcasts. If you could do me that favor, and I could get several hundred of you to text and email to verify the listenership, I have a better chance of support from sponsors to help finance the podcast, to market it, to grow bigger. Will you help me do this end of the year accounting? Please. I'm sending out the request. I truly do appreciate all of you for listening to the podcast. I'm just asking for your support with feedback with a text or email. The email is wolfpacklistener@gmail.com. Wolf, W-O-L-F, pack, P-A-C-K, listener, L-I-S-T-E-N-E-R, Gmail, wolfpacklistener@gmail. I have approximately 2 weeks to gather all of this information for my eyes to convey verbally to sponsors who are interested in sponsoring the show. They just need some kind of indication where the listenership is coming from. If you want to comment when you're texting or emailing me, obviously, tell me what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show, what you want to see added. Do you want to see it longer, shorter? Help me. As they say, remember Tom Cruise? Help me, help you. Thank you, everyone. I sincerely appreciate this. And finally, the other big news was the fall of Assad in Syria. This was directly from the New Yorker magazine. For 54 years, generations of Syrians lived and died in a country that was colloquially called Assad's Syria. It was a place where children were taught that the walls had ears, that a misplaced word could lead to being disappeared. The regime had multiple branches of secret police, collectively called the Mukhabarat, which helped underpin its one party, one family, one man rule. President Bashar al-Assad and his late father and predecessor Hafez were omnipresent. They were forces glaring down from the many billboards, posters, statues that were felled this week with all the exuberance, rage, and grief of the long oppressed. The end of Assad's Syria was as stunning as it was swift. It took 11 days for some of Assad's armed opponents to bring down the regime. The fall of the capital, Damascus, on Sunday morning marked the climax of an almost 14-year campaign that began in March 2011, when peaceful protests morphed into a messy war. All of these facts are brought to you by the New Yorker magazine. So now, with these facts happening, Israel bombs Syria in the last 24 hours and seizes territory as Netanyahu pledges to change the face of the Middle East. Israel has deployed ground troops, both into and beyond a demilitarized buffer zone for the first time in 50 years. Israel also states that it destroyed Syria's naval fleet in the last 24 hours. The Syrian people, of course, are elated. So the question for you, the Wolfpack listener, put yourself in Netanyahu's shoes with what's happening in Syria and the fall of Assad. Do you, if you were Netanyahu, take advantage and do the actions that Israel is doing in the last 24 hours to ensure your country's future existence? Or do you not intervene with any action at all? Now, personally, initially, I felt it was above and beyond what Netanyahu is doing right now. But thinking about it, this makes sense strategically, logistically, and as far as the continuing safety of my country that I'm in charge of if I was Netanyahu. So what are your feelings, the listener? Those that follow world events. Are these the correct actions or too much above and beyond what should be done? Again, text in the app, email me, wolfpacklistener@gmail.com. Leave me a voice message, toll free, 833-399-9653. What do you feel is the right thing to do with the fall of Assad if you were Netanyahu? And if you're listening outside the country, would love to hear from you. Who is going to be the first person to send an email comment back to me from outside the United States? Okay, earlier I wanted to talk about Joni Ernst. So even though Matt Gaetz is no longer in the running for Attorney General, and we thought Hegseth and Kash Patel and others were in serious trouble with their nominations as FBI Director and Secretary of Defense, it seems some high-ranking Republicans like Joni Ernst and others are rallying around these two nominations now. After showing criticism towards Hegseth and his nomination, the Republicans verbally attacked and criticized Joni Ernst. And after that criticism, here's what Joni said. On Monday, she said she had an encouraging meeting with Pete Hegseth, President-elect Trump's embattled pick to lead the Pentagon. Ernst, who has emerged as a key figure in whether Hegseth is confirmed by the Senate, said after the pair's second meeting that she appreciated Hegseth's responsiveness and respect for the process. There you go, Joni. After criticism against you, thanks for standing firm in your convictions and questions about Hegseth. So where I stated earlier in the last week or two that the Republicans had to show some balls and backbone in saying no to the ridiculous appointments from Donald, well, apparently they're backing down and not seemingly wanting to stop any of the weird appointments from Donald Trump. So that buffer zone, the wall of defense, that backbone I talked about from the Republicans that we were all looking for, seems to be flaking and cracking piece by piece and breaking off. And that frankly sucks. And that frankly hastens the demise of our country. And that's sad. And the last bastion of defense to stand up for democracy, the Republicans, is waving joyfully with a big bye-bye to us and our country. Add that to the pile of people that are disappointing us. The mainstream media and the Republican bigwigs who have decided it's more important to continue with supporting a criminal and a corrupt doctrine from that criminal instead of doing the right thing. And to beat it into the ground again, thank you to the 74+ million people who voted for Donald to lead our country again. You people lost your way. But to leave you with a little glimmer of hope, a ray of sunshine, so to speak, the New York Attorney General and the Manhattan District Attorney both said Tuesday they will not dismiss their historic cases against Donald Trump now that he's been reelected president. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, a Democrat, argued in a filing made public Tuesday that Trump's May conviction on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records should not be dismissed just because he's returning to the White House. President-elect immunity does not exist, the DA's office wrote, adding that even when Trump is president, dismissing the convictions and the indictments against him would be an extreme remedy that is unwarranted. One could cross their fingers. We could rub a rabbit's foot. We can consult our Ouija boards, hoping something right will be done and guiding us to the point of correct justice for someone so corrupt as Donald. Yeah, and it don't rain in Indianapolis in the summertime. The holidays are rapidly approaching. Hope you're enjoying what you can with what you have this week and next. Send your emails, your texts, your phone calls. Please, I need to hear from everyone to see where this podcast stands. Until next time, from A World Gone Mad, I'm your host, Jeff Allen Wolf. Stay hopeful.